Okay, guys. It's me. It's Kelly Cones' work back with BRGR, your fan therapy session. You will notice I am by myself today because my co-host is slacking. He's gone again. It is what it is. I'm going to do this all by myself today. So hopefully you guys like it because you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. All right. We are back for episode 4. We are coming off of the win from Houston Christians. Nebraska is 3-0 heading into conference play, which is crazy because Nebraska fans like, Huskers, we can't relate to this because it's like a joy we've been deprived of for a while now. So even last year, we dropped one of those games at the beginning of the season. Anyway, heading into a huge week, the boys on the bus call it the Bussin' Bowl. We have Michigan at home Saturday, 2:30 kick. It's going to be a big week. But as always, we're going to recap this last week for you guys. Everything that went well, everything that didn't go well. The stuff that you guys are just talking about, shooting the shit at work, we're just going to do that anyway. That's the whole point of the show. We're not a stats center. We are a therapy session to just really shoot the shit. So, 59-7. I was really fucking hoping for another shutout. God damn it. I was so pissed that we didn't get it. But that's what happens when your second half is played entirely with deeper on your bench and not your starters. So it is what it is. All right, conference play. Here we go. Let's do a little bit of a recap. The biggest thing that I guess the game didn't start great for me, even though we scored. We were looking like we were in a great position, but in our first drive, we march all the way down to the field, or all the way down the field, and we get stalled inside the red zone and have to put up a field goal. That kind of shit isn't going to win you against Michigan when you're playing Houston Christian. You cannot take that much time off the clock, put that huge drive on the board, be on the 2-yard line, and settle for a field goal. You have to put it in. So right off the bat, I was starting to feel like, fuck, we are going to Nebraska this situation, aren't we? We're going to do it. It's right. It's so fucking easy to feel so unsettled as a fan with this team because we have been conditioned. It's like a learned behavior, right? We have been conditioned for this or to this scenario for so long that you can't ever feel settled. So right off the bat, that didn't make anybody feel good. Now, did we cover the spread? Sure, absolutely. Should it have been more? Absolutely. I don't think that there should have been 7 on the board. We probably could have put up at least 2 other touchdowns. It is what it is. The spread was covered. That's all right. The best part too, and Rule kind of agreed, how delightful is it to look out? I wish the student section would stay, but Rule said it himself, like, I want our team to be in such a great position that they can look up on the scoreboard and say, I feel good about this. I'm going to go hit O Street and just have the time of my life and be in college. That's how confident Rule wants to be with our team, for the fans to be with our team, that it's packed until we're in a good spot. So that was like a weird thing to see too, because we've seen the reverse, right? If anybody remembers the Ohio State game from the Riley era, the stadium emptied. We couldn't sit and stomach that shit anymore when it's like 56-0 or whatever it was. We can't stomach sitting in that stadium watching our team fucking lose, getting absolutely blown out. So everybody just cleared out. They couldn't watch it anymore. So last week, we're on the complete opposite side of it, where we were in such a positive position that the stadium cleared out. I also think that the heat kind of played into it because it was hot as fuck, and the first aid, tent was full. It was really, really warm. So a little bit of a student section clear out, but that's all right. I also thought it was really, really cool that during the Unity Walk, the team walked in wearing Bud Crawford shirts. What a tremendous way to recruit for Nebraska football. Then you have the pride of Omaha, really, of the state of Nebraska, Bud Crawford putting Nebraska on his back and going into the fight of all fights against Canelo, putting his 41-0 record on the line. And he is sitting there head to toe, all of his staff, they're all in the Husker N repping it. And then to have our student athletes repping Crawford. It was just such a cool, like Nebraska was on display, right? And obviously volleyball won too. So it was just like this really cool, undefeated weekend of Nebraska athletics. So, and Rule said that too. Like, I got to get on a plane because how can I not be there? Like, this is the job. Crawford is sporting Nebraska. This is a great recruiting opportunity for us. I have to be there. I have to show up. He wanted to show up, but it was really cool. Anyway, so recap wise, those were just kind of some of the fun highlights. I want to move into the player coach spotlight because damn, we saw a lot get spread out. Again, we didn't have our starters in the second half. So we got to go deep into our bench for offense to get a lot of reps, defense to get a lot of reps, which really only helps when we get into this conference schedule, right? We know that Hartzog was out, so we had players that shifted over to nickel from corner. But still, our defense was, we were forcing sacks. We had a scoop and score. Really, it was just great to kind of see we can be diverse and deal with adversity. And we still have the ability to make plays happen. Even in that second half, I would have loved that shutout to not happen. But at the same time, do you put your starters back in when that score happens? I don't think so. You're so far up on the scoreboard anyway. Let your guys continue to play. Let your guys continue to get reps. Don't worry about the shutout. You're still going to cover the spread at the end of the game. Yes, it would have been fucking cool to have a shutout 2 weeks in a row, but put your guys in. Let them play. Let them get reps. Let them get experience. Build that depth so you have the confidence in your team. That's the same shit that Alabama did. They didn't name their starters. Look at how many different quarterbacks they rotated through at the beginning of the season. If you think about Tua and how he played, he wasn't named the starter at the beginning of the season. That's what Alabama does, is they build depth in those positions and they let people get reps. So it doesn't matter if people graduate, they continue to build that brand from deep in the bench. And then they're starting to fill in those holes and those gaps from recruiting or from the their transfer portal. Speaking of the transfer portal, if you missed it yesterday, the NCAA has now eliminated the spring transfer portal, which it's the whole reason Rule took out the spring game, is because people use that as a recruiting point to then pull away players. So the NCAA announced that they are eliminating that yesterday. Anyway, I go back to what I was talking about. We talked about Hartzog being out. He's supposed to be back this week. We talked about the defense. They showed a lot of swagger. They were flying all around. I loved that. I loved that, again, on the offensive side of the ball, we were putting up some crazy stats. I think Raiola was 15 of 21 for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. TJ Lateef came in. He put up like 197 yards and a touchdown. Emmett Johnson had 2 TDs. Dane Key was key again. Like, we are putting up some crazy numbers, and that's what Rule wants. He's like, I don't want you guys doing crazy trick plays and all this other shit. I just want you, just play the game. Put your head down, do the work, run the ball, run the play. Just focus, not on all the other stuff, right? In terms of focusing on the other stuff, that makes it actually an easy transition into fan therapy corner session. One of the comments that I got the most was, damn, those red unis were fucking sick. They were so cool. I want them to wear them all the time because they were amazing. I'm not talking about the red unis from when, what game was that? Oh, I think it was Ohio State. The all red that was like a deeper crimson with the black and silver type letters that were hard as shit to read. Those were not red outs. I wouldn't consider those red outs because they didn't have red socks. They didn't have red shoes. These were true red out unis, and they were sick. People really want to see them play in them again. I don't want them to be an alternate of some kind. But when you're heading into a game week like this against Michigan, don't add any of those distractions, right? Just go out there and play the fucking game. Put on your uniform, go out there, play the game. I don't give a shit who's going to be there in terms of recruits. I don't give a shit about the distractions of an alternate uniform, this, that, or the other thing. Keep the distractions at a minimum. Just play the game. That is going to be such an epic game for Nebraska because they have the potential, right? We're still the sleeper in the polls. We're still not in the polls. Fine. I hope to God our players are using that as fucking fuel. That was one of our other comments here in the fan therapy corner. Why are we not in the AP poll? Well, one, a lot of the AP voters are horseshit, but cool, great. What an awesome motivator to say, fine, let them second guess me, right? Michigan has fallen already this season. They did have a big game last week. I think it was like 63-3 or some crazy number like that. So they're feeling pretty good. What a tremendous environment for them to come into at Nebraska. They've had a lot of turmoil off the field as well. I like it. I like Nebraska in this game. They've got the swagger heading into it. We're in that year 3 of Matt Rule. The last time that Taylor Lewan from Bustin' with the Boys was at Nebraska was last year for the Colorado game, and Nebraska won. So I know that he's going to be there again this week. Maybe that's actually some good juju for us, even though he would disagree. But yeah, I like this for us. I really, really do. So some great comments tonight from the therapy session of how can we be your therapist? Wear the red. Continue to go deep on that bench and keep out the distractions, right? Okay. I want to move on to our Big Ten chaos report. This is going to seem really weird because I'm literally just talking to myself, you guys. But that's okay. We just don't have my color commentator here with me. It's fine. Big Ten chaos report. Again, Colorado's not in the Big Ten, but I cannot start this chaos report without saying, ha! Ha! Oh my God, they lose again. They're 0-3, and I just am sitting here going, yeah, is the hype over? Like, is the Sanders hype over? Because now you don't have Shadur, you don't have Shiloh, you don't have Travis Hunter, which were your powerhouse weapons. Those were your main 3 players on the team. And you don't have that nepotism anymore that fuels your program. So is the Sanders hype done? It does my heart good. Anytime that Colorado loses and Nebraska wins, it's such a great weekend. Outside of that, in the Big Ten itself, of course, Wisconsin loses to Bama. UCLA and Northwestern continue to shit the bed. So I think Nebraska is in a really good position. I think we're still looking at maybe 6th in the Big Ten-ish. Iowa came back with a solid win. Illinois won. So we'll see. But again, when some of your storied foes go down, it's always a good weekend. All right. So moving on, we're going to move on to preview for this upcoming weekend. I've kind of touched on some things a little bit. I'm trying to keep the pod a little bit shorter this week since it's just me. How entertaining can that really be? But that's fine. Currently, spread for Michigan is by 1.5. So we'll see. That's not much. It's really going to come down to, I think it's going to come down to that turnover game. It really, truly is. If you look at the numbers itself, Michigan's offense overall is 39th in the FBS. Nebraska's offense is 10th in the FBS, right? So that if you go to the defensive side of the ball, Michigan's D is 33rd in the FBS versus Nebraska's 6th in the FBS. So on paper, stats look great for Nebraska. But again, does Nebraska this situation and we find ways to fuck it up? We're playing at home. We have the crowd on our side. It's not a night game, which would have been sick, but it is what it is. I still like Nebraska in this game because the biggest piece in my brain, and I hope some of these players know that, is that 97 year. Granted, Scott Frost was our quarterback, but we had to share the national championship with Michigan. And we never played each other. We played Tennessee that year, but Michigan claims that they would have kicked the shit out of Nebraska, and we all fucking know that that's not true, and we should have never been sharing a portion of the national championship. So that eats at me all the time, especially when we go to play these guys. Like, Desmond Howard can suck it. The 97 team from Michigan can suck it. You guys are not the champions in 1997, and our O-line, our pipeline would say that, our D-line would say that. Like, you are not sending Coach Osborne out. There's no fucking doubt in my mind, if Nebraska and Michigan play each other in that 97 game for the championship, that Michigan wins that. No fucking way in hell. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a that I want to keep in people's brains for this Saturday too, because we've got a little bit more of an incentive. I think it's going to, again, be a tight game. It's going to take all three phases of the ball. It's going to come down to turnovers. Time of possession is pretty similar. So I still like Nebraska in this. I'm going to go Nebraska 21. I take that back. Nebraska 24, Michigan 21. That's where I'm going. Field goal. We'll see. 24-21. That's where I'm at. All right, final grades. Coaching this last week I thought was really, really on point. I enjoyed some of our play calling. I liked that we mixed up some of the personnel that we had. I loved that Rule put Archie in towards the end of the game, because Archie hasn't gotten to do anything in the last two games. We haven't had to punt. So he literally hasn't been in the game. I loved that he got put in the game. That was a fun little touch. So I'm going to give our coaching a B+. I'm going to give our offense, I'll give them a B+ as well. Again, I don't like that there were a couple of times that we got all the way down into the red zone and we couldn't convert. I don't like that. That does not win you in the Big Ten Conference. That just does not do it. Our defense was much better as well. God, I think I might go a B+ with them too. Crazy. Special teams, I might be a B+ across the board. Overall, I think it was a pretty balanced game. It was pretty balanced. But it's going to be won in turnovers and special teams. So we will see how it goes. I'm keeping it short and sweet this week. Remember to catch every new episode of Big Red Gets Real Fridays, and Cisco will be back next week. So for now, I am Kelly Cones-Wazorek for Big Red Gets Real, and we will be with you guys soon. Deuces. Peace.